Local producer David Greer has produced a tribute to the godfather of soul, James Brown, playwright, producer, a Hartford guy for 8 years. Although your roots, when folks hear you talk, they're going to hear that Tennessee, Kentucky thing going on.
Can't miss
it.
it.
But welcome.
Thank you.
So you've been doing a lot of good things with your career.
Right.
This tribute to James Brown, of all the different subjects out there. Why JB?
Well, James has been just an inspiration to me for a lot of years. I can't remember when I first heard his music, but I grew up in the church, so I'd see the preachers preach and the singers singing. And when I heard him sing and preach, it just reminded me, when I heard James sing and do his type of preaching on the stage, I was like, wow, this is just the most rawest, purest soul, guy I've ever heard and seen in my life. And I even impersonated him in a college acting class. I got an A on the grade.
Did you really?
And that was, eons ago.
You can do a JV impersonation?
Of course I can't stand.
That's not bad. So what does he bring to, besides his great talent and extraordinary personality, right? Here's a guy who has a checkered past. And
well, he was always, he grew up an orphan kid in the backwoods of South Carolina during the Great Depression. His mom left him. His dad had to take him to stay at his aunt at his aunt's home who run a brothel, and he had to work. He had to pay rent. So he danced for nickels. He shined shoes, ran errands, and he became an entertainer. He did get into some trouble, went to jail early in his life, formed a band in prison, got out of prison, joined with Bobby Byrd, who helped him get out of prison. And they hit the Chitlin circuit. They got into a big competition with Little Richard. Little Richard, gave up the devil music and went to Jesus. And James Brown and Bobby Byrd took over his gigs, and it sort of took off from there.
Now, did they copy each other, Little Richard and James Brown? Was there a copycat thing going on? Because there's similar sort of personalities.
A little bit. There was a lot of competition. But the one thing James had that Richard didn't have is that James could dance. And James would outdo, anytime he was billed on a show with another entertainer, whether it be, the Moon Glows or the Clovers, all these other groups, he always wanted to outdo everybody. He was a fierce competitor.
And so in the brothel, you got to have people skills and business skills, right?
Right. And he was definitely an entrepreneur. I mean, throughout his career, he set precedents that no other people did. When his first record, the record companies thought this would be a big hit. He said, well, look, I will use my own money to cut the record. He cut the record, put it on the air, and it's a big hit. He wanted to do a live show and record a live show at the Apollo. His producers say, you got to be crazy. No one has ever done a live show that never worked. He says, okay, I'll use my own money to produce a live show at the Apollo. And his live recording at the Apollo in 1962 is still one of the top-selling live albums in history.
Extraordinary talent. And here's a look back, by the way, at the life of James Brown. We'll talk about your program coming on Saturday, but here's a look at JB in action.
Wow, I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. So good. So good. I got you.
Sugar and spice.
Hey, here we go.
I feel. All right, so tell us about this performance down Saturday, right? Hartford.
It's going to be at the Riverfront, the Mortensen Riverfront Plaza.
Now, who's doing it? Is someone going to be mimicking Brown, or will it be a...
Not exactly. The focus on this is being sponsored by the Evelyn W. Preston Foundation. So the focus is on the music itself. So it's going to be a band doing James Brown music, and parts of the script I'm working on are going to be woven into the band's performance. So the band's going to play, and then we'll do a short, say, vignette of something that happened in James' life. Then we go back to the music. So it's really not going to be, it's nothing like a stage production. It's just going to be bits and pieces of the script. There's really not necessarily going to be a James Brown impersonation, but if you come out, you may be surprised of what you might see. So I really can't say exactly.
All right, they'll come out 6 o'clock Saturday, right?
Right, 6 o'clock.
15 seconds. Got to go real quick. His place in history, top 5, top 10 of all time entertainers. Real quick.
I'm sorry? I didn't.
His place in musical history, if you rank him and Michael Jackson and Elvis.
I'd have to put him in the top 1 or 2 because both Elvis, Michael, Mick Jagger, all the greats consider him a hero and a mentor.
All right, we got to go. David Greer, folks. Check out his show Saturday. I want to thank all our guests, Andrew Clark, Bill Dyson, Lori Giles, David Greer. Don't forget, catch our show 24/7 at ctnow.com/Stan and check out exclusive behind-the-scenes video of the show. Friend us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. For the good folks here at Fox, Connecticut, I'm Stan Simpson. The Morning News is next.